City Hall.
Recording in progress.
You want me to start?
Yes.
Okay. We're having the Parks and Rec Committee meeting, November 16th, 2023 at 6 p.m. at the City Hall. Roll call.
Kira,
Excused absent.
Lisha,
Excused absent.
Wendell,
Here.
Kay Buckles,
Here.
Ernie Hebert,
Here.
Sarah Hilliard,
She'll be coming in late.
and Nicole Pugh.
Here.
Okay. Do we have any deletions or additions to the agenda?
Only one thing,
Sure.
I forgot to add the Riverfront, minutes and the, Excel, which has all of the
Action.
actions,
Yeah.
and I added it into the website, and I provided a copy to, all the members here.
And again, it's not Omega. I was late sending the notes, so thank you.
No problem.
Okay. If there's nothing else, the public comment period will start. The public comment portion of the agenda is the opportunity for the Parks and Rec Committee to listen to the public, but not for dialogue. The commentators are allowed up to 3 minutes to present information relevant to this committee, not otherwise listed as an agenda item. Please note, complaints should first be addressed to the appropriate city department and/or city manager prior to directly addressing the Parks and Rec Committee. Okay, yes,
I think since we have a large group here too, it might be nice to announce that we have vacancies on the Park and Recreation Committee. We have a
Just
application.
nonprofit.
What?
Just nonprofit.
Nonprofit.
Sorry.
Non-voting, yeah, we have a non-voting position that has come open, and so that is available, and we're taking applications, and we would love to have somebody, so if you're interested, please let us know.
If I may. Not only that, not only you guys, but, we'd also like to see a youth in here.
Yeah,
If we could get a high school student in here, that would be awesome. So we'd have a voice of that group.
so yeah, I think the age we started was 16 and
Yes.
older,
Mhm.
16 and older for the non-voting position. Oh, okay.
okay, approval of the minutes, of course, that was postponed, I see that. Okay, number E, presentation, Friends of the Sheridan Park.
Yes. My name is Barry Conser, and I'm pinch-hitting for
Hold on, we have to turn your mic on, sir. Please state your name again.
Barry Conser, and I'm representing Friends of Sheridan Parks. And just a brief presentation here. Just tell you basically where we're at with the garden. So, do you want
Yeah,
to
you bet.
send these around, please? Okay, so as you know, we've been relocating the garden this past summer. And thank you to the city for this wonderful fence that they put up out there at the Public Works site. What we're handing out is basically what it looks like as of yesterday. We have basically 10 beds that are set up and filled with dirt and compost and awaiting the spring planting. So you can look at the pictures there. You can see there's 6 4x4 beds. Which, side note to that, we plan on expanding probably another 4 to 6 beds over the winter, and they will all be 4x4. So they'll all be standard size and they're double height. So, people that are, especially seniors like myself, don't have to bend down too far to do the gardening. So we have 6 of those. We have 2 6x6 beds and 2 4x8 beds for a total of 10 beds. So that's where we're at. We've got all the bark down that we want to put down, landscape fabric, everything is set to go for spring. Over the winter now, the next steps, we have an 8x10 shed that's been stored at Public Works for a while. And Paul Pena and Rick Cox, right there? Rich, I'm sorry. Plan on assembling that over the winter months, and then Paul will be putting in the irrigation system for the existing beds. So come spring planting, we should have all that ready to go. So that's about where we're at. We propose, the fees that we propose, and it's a donation basis for people that rent the beds. For a 4x4 bed, it's $25 a season, and the 6x6 and the 4x8 are $40 a season. And anybody that's wants irrigation, it's an extra $10 a season on top of that. But there's a caveat there. I think we've been told by the city, maybe Heidi, you can elaborate on this. If we get a lot of water usage and we get bill, we, Friends of Sheridan Parks, get a bill monthly, then we'll have to pass that on, prorate that on to the people who have the beds, so.
Yeah,
That all fit with what you're,
pretty much, yeah, it's just gonna be monitored and it'll be put into the city council packet, so we can
Yeah,
all keep an
okay.
eye on it, and that way we know if we have a leak over there too that needs to be addressed. But, yeah, just so we get a baseline too.
Yeah,
for how much
okay.
water.
yeah, other than that, as far as Friends, our activities, we're going to have a table set up at the Christmas Bazaar at the high school next month. Sell a few items, raise some money. Otherwise, money to continue to develop the garden, we're gonna obviously continue to apply for the community grant every quarter and first federal grant. And anything else, any other grants you might know of that can help us out, and other small fundraisers. But basically, the grant money is the biggest contributor. So, that's all I have. So, questions, anybody? Yeah, if you haven't been by the garden, take a look. It looks really nice.
I think it's always important for your group to share that you need membership. They are a nonprofit and they
Yes.
do really need some
And
membership.
we only have 4 members.
Yeah,
And some volunteers beyond that, but basically 4 members, so we can always use some help. So, especially if you've got a green thumb and you're in the gardening. And we also do the event at Hometown Days, which is a big deal, horseshoes and cornhole and such and so on.
and then you usually have like that circus thing in the park once a year.
Yeah, if we could get enough people involved, we didn't have it this last year. If we get enough people involved, but yeah, that's fun, but it takes a lot of help, so. Anyways, yeah, we're always looking for new members. We typically meet once a month, more or less, so it's pretty informal. Anything else? Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Okay. Under new business,
Are
just,
there,
oh,
are there
sorry,
any other public comment?
oh,
Oh, no, we were already further along, I'll be
yeah,
quiet.
that's okay. I might have missed public comment,
So you read it all, it's
Okay.
me, sorry.
that's all right. Under new business, number 1, discuss and vote Foursquare rules.
So included in your packet, Chair Curate, she got the Foursquare rules from the school that she works at. And we made just a couple of suggested edits, for us to have, slightly different rules that aren't, always school-based, you know. And one of the things that I think would be nice is to add to the sign at the city park a QR code that links to a video, a YouTube video to show people how to play Foursquare too. So, we would like some of your feedback, but, the location, Kenny is here tonight, we're very lucky to have Kenny. And he can help address some of the issues that came up with the location, I think, Did you meet with Kira out there?
I did not,
Did not, okay.
no.
That's in a later,
That's in a later thing?
yeah, in a later item. It's
Just rules. Okay. Just the rules for now.
I forgot to mention too that I am subbing for the normal chair, which is Kira Lee. Okay, so if there's no questions about the rules, if I understand correctly, we are to vote. Do we feel comfortable voting after? I did watch a YouTube video because I had never played Foursquares, didn't know what it was. And it looks like a fun game actually, so.
Can I clarify whether you're looking for a motion to accept the rules as they exist or a motion to make the plaque with the rules? Is
I'd
that,
say both is nice.
and then if we
Yes.
wanna do that, we were talking about having a QR code to a YouTube video?
Mhm.
Okay. Do we have budget to make a plaque big enough for all that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool, yeah,
Not
because,
a huge parks budget. but
yeah. Well, what happens if they don't have a, well, everybody has a phone, maybe, but
Pretty
is there, would there be real life paper if people needed the rules, or is it gonna be a printed thing too?
Yeah, it'll be
Okay,
like a
I'm sorry.
sign
Okay.
at the park, and it'll have these on it. And
Okay.
then I'm a visual learner,
Mm-hmm,
really learn better that way, and so to have a QR code, I think is nice, because then I can actually see how this works, you know, especially if I have both ways, the written rules and the visual. That was just my suggestion.
sure.
So I'm sure if you wanna do a QR code, it's gonna be to a YouTube video we control though, because otherwise if we link it to somebody else's and they take it down.
Right.
Yes, there was a couple that I saw, we watched one on staff at a meeting, so that we understood what we were building. And that one was like a real, like, it was like Foursquare, I don't know what it was, it's been too long, but it was like a link that should be pretty permanent, but that should definitely be considered when the QR code is put on there, I agree.
Maybe.
We could always link it to the official site of Foursquare Association.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh,
That way it doesn't get taken down by an individual YouTube channel.
but sometimes links also change their address or IP thing too, so that's a cautionary tale too.
Signs don't always have a long life.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at least again, there's hard, they'll have the hard copy if.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
We could probably also, nowadays by Cricut, you can just cover it up, so if that QR code goes dead, or that
Yes.
goes dead, then we can probably just put another one.
okay,
I don't know,
sounds good,
just thinking over here.
okay.
So are you wanting to entertain a motion?
I am, or we are?
I would like to make a motion to accept the rules as modified, to be turned into a sign with a QR code linking to some sort of instructional video.
Second.
Okay. We vote? Okay. Do we do roll call, or we just
Just hand raise.
raise your hand
Yes.
if you're in favor? All right, looks unanimous. Very good. Okay. Number 2, discussion and vote equipment cabinet at City Park. Well, any discussion on that?
I do.
Okay.
So, I see some pictures here of ideas. My concern is this, if it's made of any type of here, let me find it. I find that some people have bad behavior and like to burn plastic structures, porta potties, bus stops, and these kinds of things. Right? So, I'm just warning, that's all, that's just warning, depending what this thing is made out of. We need to be careful what kind of destruction is gonna happen to it.
No plastic.
Yeah. Is these metal, Heidi?
I don't know, when we get to the research for these, were these metal?
Cabinet A is hard, plastic, whereas cabinet B is steel. Heidi
the,
did say that she could find, an alternative, correct?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I can get something donated.
okay,
So if you're just okay having the cabinet out there, us putting it under a video
yeah, I was gonna.
surveillance, then we can, I can,
Make sure
but
that's
you know, Kenny knows a lot of people too.
Yeah.
I'm sure between Kenny and I, we can find something. It may be used, but
That's fine.
yeah, there's a couple large businesses I know and Mac that probably can.
So they, what's that, I call it a government, you know, where cities and stuff sell or auction.
Oh, yeah, at
Yeah.
the state
Uh-huh.
surplus office?
Yes.
There's that. Yeah, there's that too.
That too, but hey, donations are good too, so,
Yeah, I know of a business that's going out of business
Oh.
and they may have something for us.
okay, that's it.
So, well, Megan, I'll go that route if everybody's okay with it and try to avoid plastic.
Yeah, and is this going to be a concrete pad and it fastened to it?
I don't,
What,
yeah. I think it depends on what the structure looks like.
right, well, because the dimensions, I could just see somebody pulling up to, for the big pickup truck and just leaning it over right in the back.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be further into the park than closer out, or to the edge of the park. So I agree with you, the further it is into the park and under the video surveillance, the safer it will be to, to some vandalism, really. So we want it out in the open, and if we get it donated, we'll give it a try.
Yeah. See how that works.
And,
Is that gonna be a standalone feature or next to a building or just?
yeah, do you have a guess on where it's gonna be?
I don't,
There's a place, at the city park that's right underneath a street light that's in the park,
Mm-hmm,
right just ahead of the parking by the restrooms. There's already a pad there,
Perfect.
so that might be a pretty good location for it.
Is there already surveillance cameras in the park that are pretty accurate? Is that,
yes,
okay,
we
so,
tend to not talk about the surveillance cameras because that would defeat them in public meetings, we cannot talk about that. But yes, we
but,
do have
but in
some.
this case, it is relevant, cause it's part of the, this is under surveillance, then we don't necessarily need to have it locked.
Oh, yeah, so we have the cabinet locked.
Right, so this talks about possibly having locks for the cabinets and things, which I could see definitely being problematic. How do you get people the locks? How often do you change them? How are you really preventing theft with that anyways? I mean, I feel like if there's good enough surveillance, then it's almost not worth having a lock at all. You know what I mean?
I know, I think we just start off with like one rubber ball and see, you know,
See how
and
light lasts.
see what goes on, you know, for the four square. And see
Okay.
where we start to go from there. And maybe over time, you know, maybe put in a set of horseshoes, we'll see where we go from there.
Right.
well, and put a sign up to be, please be considerate.
And we were gonna say, and you're being watched, you know, those signs.
Yeah.
are like, Smiling on
Right.
camera, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. But our cameras have captured a lot, and I would say because they're new and improved since the last year and a half. And we have captured a lot, and we have gone forward with the prosecution, which is kind of difficult. But we have offered community service, and nobody's taken us up on it. So, but we have not had, knock on wood, the vandalism that we were having, and that
Yeah.
has really slowed down.
But if somebody did try to pull up with a truck and take this cabinet, we would be able to figure out pretty much who
You
it
know, we
was.
would most likely get their license.
Well, you could secure that to that pad, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Make it a little more difficult. I think I always call for a code too, so I usually have to have the phone and when it goes through the effort, you know, to get in. If you wanted to, so you can much about, well, I guess it would be a little bit.
Yeah, so we'll start small.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, do we wanna vote on that again?
You are fairly confident you can find a donation cabinet to kind of start this, and then we can look and see how it goes?
Yes. Kenny's saying yes. Kenny
Okay.
and Aaron pretty good
So I would
at
make,
these things out.
I will make a motion asking that Heidi take the initiative to find a cabinet that's been donated to be placed at the park to house a ball and possibly some horseshoes or things to be borrowed at the park.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, thank you.
Well, stated.
Yes, well stated.
Thank you. We still have to vote.
Oh, good point. All right, yes, all right, all in favor? There you go.
You do back.
Everybody-
Non-voting member.
It's nice to know who's in
Yes.
favor though, yeah.
Yes, we love that. And now I get what you're saying. Should we
Put it out.
ask the RC folks to talk now?
Yes.
You're the chair.
Oh, okay, I think before we go on and talk about a subcommittee, really, we should have the RC folks, talk to us. And, is there a speaking representative for the RC folks? Come on down. You're welcome.
My name is Eric Hansen. I'm the owner of RC Plus Hobbies in Salem. We have spoke on this previously. There was some choices made with individuals that were put on the project that were not something that I was interested in pursuing. I'm not gonna get into names, I'm not gonna get into that,
Sure.
I'll just leave it at
Thank you.
that.
Thank you very much.
We had discussed locations to put the track, we've talked about the track in the future community center. The locations that we were given as options in the city park. I was asked to go down there, scout a location, give that information to you as far as where the best spot would be. I did that, we have horseshoe pits in that area currently. That was disheartening for me, it made me kind of step back, it felt like, again, voice not being heard. But it's time for change, we need stuff for our youth. We have obviously several people here that have brought down examples that kind of allay the fears of whether this is a viable project or not. I've got many, many more people that, due to the short notice, were not able to come in tonight that would have loved to have been here to show support as well. So my question is this a viable project in the near future at one of our in-town city parks that we have? What kind of space can we allocate to it? And how can we progress forward with getting this project off the ground?
Yeah, we're very interested in it, and again, we apologize that something happened, and we're glad you're back. And so, my understanding from what Heidi told me is that if you guys want to create your own subgroup, of Parks and Rec, if I understand that correctly, we could do that, and
Okay.
if you want to be the lead for that subgroup,
Yes,
Yes.
you would have to have a member on
Yes,
this group
thank
to
you.
attend, and then
Okay.
you would also have to take minutes. And so you can't take official action in the group, you would have to come back to the group and present it, and then have it go from there. But I think that would be a really great way, especially if somebody in your group wanted to be the non-voting member, because that makes it a little easier, I guess, to have it all kind of.
Well, I was gonna say, we have an opening.
I know. So we do have that, and I don't know if that would be nice to have yourself, or, I think, do I remember you had a son?
I've got two boys that are very much into this.
And are they 16 or older?
Not quite.
Okay,
My oldest
okay.
just turned 15 this last month here, so they're
Thinking that might
not
be a
quite
good
there yet.
Thing for them to have that position, but, yeah, so we do have that, otherwise you would be asking one of these people to be at your meetings.
Depending on when the meetings are held, I'd probably be totally open to that, and, I do apologize, I'm playing catch-up with you, because I'm newer to the committee, I don't think I was here last time. I do, vaguely remember hearing about this, and I know the community would be really excited to have this, so whatever we can do to support this would be great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I guess that's just the biggest thing is, right, you let me know the steps we need to progress forward. We'll start taking action.
I think if you were able to have a meeting and then have maybe Kenny attend it, because I think Kenny has some ideas too about a couple of different locations.
Okay.
So,
Excellent.
yeah,
I would
I'm
love to
excited, because
discuss.
I really want youth to be able, because he teaches at Chapman, there's a program for youth there to make, will you tell everybody just for like a couple minutes about the
So
class?
what we do is we choose, we've got limited selection as far as the kit cars that we can build as a viable option. We try to choose low-cost options for the school. Everything is done through STEM grants. I also donate a portion of the product to the schools because we can never get the cost as low as what we would like. Our suppliers, unfortunately, they'll only play ball so much. So I take money out of my pocket to help get more product into the schools. And what we do is, with Sheridan, we did it differently than what I've done with other schools in the past. We turned it into a multi-tiered build section where we had lots of different meetings to build the cars in. Generally with the schools, we try to plan it, it's 1 or 2 days, start to finish. They come in, maybe never having turned a screwdriver before. By the end of it, they have mechanical knowledge, they have electrical knowledge, general mechanical aptitude. They know how it goes together, they know how it comes apart. So lots of little things they learn. It also gets into a myriad of automotive intricacies, you know, suspension setups, tuning, roll centers. I mean, I could go on for literally days. I don't understand all of it myself after being in the hobby for 30-some years at this point. But it's just a fantastic hobby for kids to get into, and adults. You know, there's a lot of people that I've talked to several where radio controlled cars were their turning point. You know, they were going down a bad path. This was the hobby that drug them back out of it. I've got several homeless members in Salem around my store that I try to work with, you know, as far as if they have an interest in the hobby, I would love to help them out to further that hobby. And it's a bad term, but we'll say put the addiction into something more positive.
I'm impressed.
Yes.
You know, I didn't start off being excited about it. I had hard questions to ask, right? And I'm not afraid to ask them. And I'm glad that I did.
I
And
appreciate it.
and because the community support I'm seeing around this and backing you on this is just tremendous. I love it.
I absolutely appreciate the hard questions being asked. You know, that's something that a lot of people aren't willing to do, and it's questions that need to be asked. You know, it's obviously, you know, there is the potential for me to appear to have skin in the game being a shop owner. My shop is in Salem, as we discussed on the post. The cost of everything is going up. You know, people are making less trips to Salem for hobby-related items. We see it in my store on a daily basis. There is thankfully a lot of online presences that you can get the same stuff, you can get the parts, you can have it delivered right to your front door every day of the week. You know, so it's not something where I'm expecting that everyone in town that has an RC car is gonna come see me. I just wanna see a place where we can all gather, we can help kids learn something, and we can help each other as adults learn something and just form a stronger, tighter community bond.
Wonderful. I hope you do move forward with the subcommittee and get this thing rolling. Yeah.
Excellent.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yes.
So to finish my thought though, what I think is important too is that the kids that you're helping to build these at the school have a place on the weekends or after school. I think that's so important for them to be able to have that pride and to show their family members what they've been working on. And I just think that that is a really important thing, and it gives them something to do that's very positive. So I like that part. I also think that there's an economic development tool here, which means that it works as a tourism. There isn't a whole lot of places, parks that have.
The closest quality track to run on would be Meldrum Bar,
Where is it?
which is up towards Gladstone, Oregon City area. And it was, I believe, put in with help of the parks, but it is maintained by the group of individuals that go up there and run on it. You know, it's kind of self-propagating. And you'll find that a lot in the radio-controlled community. You know, I know myself personally, if we have a track in and it starts getting beat up, I have no problem coming down with a bag of dirt and a shovel and patching up dents in the dirt, if you will, you know, keeping the track in the condition it needs to be for people to play. And it's also, we've spoken about it before, you know, our parks, We had a lot of bad influences in the parks, and I think a lot of that had to do with, it went both ways. It started with, we had bad things that started happening that made parents afraid to take their kids to the park, they didn't feel comfortable, and it got to the point where, well, no one's at the park now, so what better place to go and do these things you're not supposed to do? No one's there watching us, you know.
Yeah.
This is driving people back into the parks, and that's going to create use of everything at the park, not just the track. The more people you have in the park, the more you're gonna see all of the stuff that the community has spent time and money building, utilized.
I used to live right at the entrance to Melbourne Bar, and I watched from when I was young, where it started out with just a BMX track. And it actually started out with mud racing.
Yep.
Right? Mud racing, then it went on to the BMX track, and now with this, with the RC, it's just awesome, it's just a fantastic thing.
Yep. And as far as, you know, tourism goes, I'll touch on that a little bit. I'll give you an idea. I can bring you numbers, absolutely. The areas, the track owners that have large scale tracks, A-scale tracks, when they host events, they host generally up to 4, maybe 5 events during the year. They will get people traveling. Right now, Washington and Idaho are the places that have those. There's one that is starting to form in the Albany area. He's looking for a different spot. A big national race draws in 300 to 400 people. $75 is average entry fee per class that you run. They run 1 to 4 classes. They're there camping for the entire weekend. They're spending money within that community. Most of the tracks that are putting on events like that, just in entry fees alone, you're talking $150,000 or better. So that's something that if the city wanted to go down that avenue, host the events themselves, it's a pretty good revenue strain for a piece of dirt that's not currently being used.
We do have this is, what areas in the city, it's not just the city park, right? Would the South Park be
Yeah, so
part
that's
of that?
one of it, but I also wanna make sure, Eric and I had kind of talked about having it in different locations, because we're having more than one, maybe a small one and then a larger one.
Okay,
Because I really like the idea too, that the kids are being able to walk somewhere by themselves, and you can't walk to the South Park,
Right.
over the, or
Yes.
the, the pass very easily. So it is a challenge to think about having, where we're limited to, but it is, we've talked about having like a mini one and then a larger one. And so, I don't know, just something to think about, but I think that's a great thing for the subcommittee, and I imagine Kenny and I could give them, or Omega and Sandy, whoever, can give you a tour of the different spots in town.
That would be excellent.
I think would be available, but I do need a motion, and Nicole, you would have to put yourself out there as being because they need a person.
Okay, so, I would like to make a motion to allow and ask the RC group to form a subcommittee in which I am willing to attend, to then be able to move forward with possibly placing a track in the city limits of Sheridan on a public property.
okay. All voting?
Yes.
Vote yes, yes.
Just jump it over.
Yes.
It must be catching for me.
I know.
Yeah.
Just say yes, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I just think the more recreation opportunities we can
Yes.
have out here, Sheridan is such a beautiful place, surrounded by so many recreation opportunities, and it just fits so nicely, so I'm excited.
I am excited as well. I would like to say thank you for all of your time, and I'd also like to say thank you to everyone that showed up tonight in support of this.
Thank you.
This is what we need.
Can I ask a question as well as doing it here in Sheridan? I know there was talk about a BMX track by Hampton Lumber at one point. Another good location to put this would be there, so you have multiple locations.
So I have reached out to Willamina Middle School. I've also reached out to Willamina City Hall. I've left business cards. I've called and left messages. I have received absolutely nothing from either. So if somebody has a good contact that they could put me in touch with to pursue something like this, I'm all ears.
Are we talking about a Hampton property or a property by?
What are those called, the tracks with BMX and
It's
the?
the pump track.
Yeah.
Yeah, pump tracks, yeah.
Is there more land out there at the pump track?
Where is this?
So,
I don't have it in front of me right now. They already have a plot picked out. They're moving forward with
Yeah.
it. And it was land, I believe, donated by Hampton Lumber, but I don't have all the details.
Isn't it up by the high school?
I believe so.
it's
Yeah,
like in
it's
the
up on the
neighborhood
house.
around here. It's been a couple years in progress.
Yeah.
And, you know, that'd be another good person to talk to, is
Excellent.
Hampton Lumber, yeah.
Or do we have your email address so that we can?
Okay.
Sorry, I can probably put you in touch with somebody. Yeah, I have your business card actually
Perfect.
in my.
I've got a quick question for you, Eric. Yes, sir. What kind of square footage would be optimal? What would you like to have? If you had
So-
your pick?
Currently,
round?
at my store, our indoor track is 75 feet by 35 feet. It is a small footprint. It depends on how many people we think we're gonna get out there. You know, my track, we race no more than 8 cars of this size at a time. When we jump up into larger type cars, we try to limit it to about 5, just to keep it fun. That's also competitive racing. Now, when we're talking, I've got an open track day and kids are out of school, then about 20 kids can stand on my driver's stand, and I've seen that many, and I've also seen them piled on my bleachers. It becomes a little chaotic, but it's a whole lot of fun. There's a whole lot of smiles, a whole lot of laughs. So, you know, if we could get something larger than that, I think that would be fantastic. An A-scale competition track, you're still probably talking no more than a 200-foot straightaway. Most of them are smaller than that.
So something like 100 by 100.
100 by 100 would be absolutely amazing. That would be room to put in a very, very interesting and fun track. You know, and the other thing I'll touch on is, at my track, we're carpeted indoor off-road. We go out, we move jumps about every 3 weeks, month at the most. We're picking up everything off the track, we're moving it around. When you're talking a dirt track, that's not the case. Dirt track, you design a fun layout that's going to be, that's your permanent layout. After that, once that's in, your jumps are built, your downsides are built, then all it is maintaining it. You know, obviously, you're going to have slough off, you're gonna have kids potentially that are going to wanna go play on their BMX bikes, that are gonna knock the top off of jumps, things like that. But that's as simple as going out there with dirt and a shovel, you know, maybe a roller, packing stuff back in. Access to water, I think, is almost a necessary if we're talking a dirt track.
Okay.
Wetting the surface down during the summertime, these cars will kick up dust, you know, dirt. If you don't have grass holding it together, it blows around. So that would be.
Will you need a shed for storing some stuff or anything? You know,
I
like
don't
rakes?
know that we would necessarily need any of that. I think
Okay.
most of us community members that are gonna be playing would have no problem bringing down our own personal hand tools to perform the maintenance that needs to be done.
Okay.
Have you ran cars on AstroTurf?
Yes, in fact, my track used to be an AstroTurf, and that's something that I was discussing earlier today, is we have probably the largest turf reseller in
Correct.
the Pacific Northwest or
Correct.
US. Turf would not be a bad option as well. Dirt's fun, turf is cleaner. It's also, you're gonna have to pick it up here and there to patch the holes at that rate. When you start getting all the solids laid in, the fill to hold the turf down, it does get awful heavy. It could require more equipment at that point to peel that stuff back to fix potential issues with the track. But that is something that is on my radar as well.
During the winter, when it's raining, if it's a dirt track, will it become mud, and how do we prevent that?
It is gonna become mud. There's no way around it. You're gonna
But-
get puddles, you're gonna get potholes. For me, that's part of the fun.
Would like an awning or something over it help?
A cover would keep it dry. It's gonna keep the track potentially in better repair year round. It's also gonna make it more usable year round. It's also going to increase the cost of it substantially. You know, especially if we're talking 100 by 100 area, that's a lot of money worth of potentially metal roof and structure to build. I think most of us would probably be happy with a driver stand, you know, an elevated structure, handrails, obviously built to code, with a roof on that. You know, that gives you a dry place to stand while you're running your car. You crash, you gotta go out there and play in the mud and the rain.
Okay. Excited to see what you guys come up with.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Any other questions?
Just an item though,
Sure.
you will be on the agendas from now on out. And so you have a spot under, subcommittee updates and reports, yeah, letter H. And so you'll have one there, and then your minutes will need to be submitted to them. I guess she sends out a reminder, I think, or something.
No, I don't have to.
We'll do our best, and just remember.
Okay.
I'm sure when we get a meeting going, we'll have
Katie's very
someone
good
with
at that.
better handwriting than me that can take notes.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right.
Chair, there's another comment.
Yes,
There's someone else who wants to speak.
okay,
We are in the public comment period.
okay. Go ahead. Yes.
Hi, Jody Lee. I am sold with this topic, the RC, because if I remember correctly, Sheridan had a mud drags. And people loved the mud drags, when Phil Sheridan Days was a thing, so I think it's a good idea because you have RCs and kids have RCs, and the people that did the mud drags would feel like they have opportunity again to race some vehicles.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else will, if anybody else wants to?
Would you like to speak? Do I follow? You can do that afterwards. Okay, good.
I just wanted to say a couple things. I'm Crystal Lambert. My husband, he plays with RCs and he's got my grandson into it now, and I have an uncle that's half the time in a wheelchair, half the time not. What is he have on?
Something wrong with his back.
In his feet, and he lost his license, and he lost a lot of stuff when this happened, and RCs pulled him through it. And they go to all different kinds of parks, and it's just nice seeing a smile on his face, you know, because he's like, he used to be a truck driver, and now he doesn't work, and so I think this would be a great thing.
Yeah. I think you're right, it does open it up for a lot of ADA.
It does, and it's fun. And you guys made a comment like, what if you do when it flips over? Well, you go out in the mud and get it. That's what you're supposed to do. But, yeah, I just think it'd be great. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. We always do.
Yeah,
Give it a
so,
little ticket.
yeah, my name's Casey Lambert, and, for like 8 years, we've been driving around looking for places to play, and the woods get closed down because people go up there and trash the place and shoot everything. And so there's really no rock pits, you know, to go run the cars. So we do look for places, and we do end up at Meldrum Bar, and Newburgh has a track, and the other place that I've seen that has the airplanes, you know, McMinnville has an airfield, and Adair is the other one that has an airfield. So I don't know if there's a place where we can fly. So that would put us more out of town, so that's the other problem with that. But he also said something about there's more rules with the airplane stuff, so keeping it on the ground would be simple. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
You gotta come up and use the microphone and fill out a little piece of paper. All official.
My name's Joe Harrison. I just want to say this is an awesome idea. I was actually talking to Eric about it a little earlier today. And just a suggestion, I don't know if this is the proper time to do this or not, but I heard, what are these gentlemen? I don't think he's here anymore. The Friends of the Park. They were talking about doing things at the City Works Department, which I believe is out past the high school.
There's several locations that we have, but the community garden is on Sheridan Road outside the sewer treatment plant.
Okay, well, I was just thinking, cause like, they were gonna do that school, the vocational school, I'm wondering if there's any land out there that would be, just a thought. But also, and again, I don't know if this is proper time or place, procedure-wise, but, being really interested in this, and also I've been looking for my way to shoehorn myself into meetings like this. I would like to volunteer myself for both positions, if you have an open seat, and if I could work as a liaison between this and that, then I'll throw my hat in the ring.
Yes. Yeah, awesome.
Okay, we're ready.
Oh, absolutely, come on down.
Lucy, but I slipped a note to her, Heidi, that when you guys were talking and I was listening to this gentleman talk, I just kept thinking of the Barbara Roberts Center. That's huge, that's more than 100 by 100. And they currently can't get what they want done, but maybe they could do it for temporary housing. And then when I heard you talk about AstroTurf, well, that means maybe they wouldn't need all mud and dirt if it was a temporary housing, because it's metal, it's a building, the school owns it. Get along with Heidi really well, use that girl, but maybe you could use it for a temporary until they figure out what they wanna do, or until they relocate to a better place in the summertime. And maybe you could do a
That would be Dory, the superintendent.
That board meeting would be a good place to start that.
The board meeting?
That's my 2 cents.
What is the Barbara Roberts?
So Laura's building over, to the high school.
It's the old Liberty Homes where they manufacture
Oh,
trailers.
of course, yeah.
Do a technical.
It's a great place.
It's pretty cool. It's taking a lot, yeah. A little bit, so.
Okay, any other comments before we start back into our agenda?
Anybody else?
Okay, we're going to go on now to item 3. Which is a discussion, Parks and Rec brochure and advertising subcommittee. Oh boy, another subcommittee.
This is all Megan's idea.
Okay, who would like to speak about that?
I think we'll make it.
Omega,
Put her on the spot.
good.
Okay, so, basically I was trying to think about ways of bringing people in. We have the horseshoe, we talked about, making an event with the friends of the Sheridan Parks. We're creating all these spaces and more to come. We are going to need volunteers. We are going to put our face in the map, so to speak. And one of those things, it just got me thinking, how to attract people, how to advertise ourselves, how to keep track of our volunteers. And most importantly, we need to think also in the future of if we want to write, apply for grants or look for other friendships and sponsorships. And we need to have start working on this to promote ourselves. So ultimately, that is what came through in my head. That includes maybe always be in contact with the bulletin board, of sending out things on the social media page, maybe revamp a specific place in our website for everything parks related, where it could be easy and accessible for people. Of course, having more than just the word of mouth, and doing some graphics. And we talked about in the subcommittee for dog park of doing a race or a 5K with your pet. And this would be a great place for this information to go out of. So what I need is 3 members to start helping me on this really large project.
Oh, I'm not volunteering, I have a question.
Before Sarah changes her mind, I am trying that.
Good for you.
Well, Wendell does lots of
Okay.
graphics.
Before, anybody dips their toe in, we, always like to ask, How long would this subcommittee go for? What's our end goal? Is it a 6-month subcommittee, or is it gonna be an ongoing committee? And how often do you project there should be a meeting, those kind of?
So kind of to answer that, we are Parks and Recreation.
Mm-hmm,
We've been focusing a lot on parks. We need to work a little bit on the recreation aspect.
okay.
That includes trying to attract tourism.
Mhm.
We don't have fees in a lot of our parks. So bringing in income through other aspects such as donations and volunteering, that is how we're gonna get a lot of these parks up.
Events.
Yes,
And sponsors.
so this is gonna be an ongoing thing. We could have where we can rotate the members every 6 months, if that is a thought, or maybe bringing in more people that are outside of this committee, but still have 3 members be the main face of it.
You also have Nicole.
I
Yeah,
know.
but I do have a question.
Go ahead.
So I just wanna clarify and kind of boil down the purpose here. So the
Yes.
main purpose of the subcommittee is gonna be to advertise and bring in tourism to our current recreation?
A little bit more than that.
Okay,
We also try to put our face, have a place where people can go if you're a corporation and you wanna sponsor,
okay.
they can find our website, very precise, and they can go ahead and put their donations down via in money, or even if writing down, like, they have grants out there for youth, and that's where they wanna put it under, and there's RCs that we have, available, and they wanna put money specifically for RC, they can find it through our website.
So you wanna kind of centralize everything into one where people can sponsor there, we can apply for grants from there and kind of fund some of these activities?
Correct, and for people to find us.
Okay.
So it kind of encompasses a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about, but we need to put a little bit more of a direction.
I would volunteer for that.
Oh, see, I'm just putting names down when they volunteer, that way you cannot say no later.
So again, it's to create a brochure for our parks, start advertising for our parks, keep track of volunteering, and create fun projects and games for fundraisers. That's a good mission statement.
Yes. I hope so.
The other thing is that, just really quickly, I don't even know if a lot of people know that we allow people to reserve the shelter at the city park and the kitchen, that is something that people don't take advantage of. So we are gonna be putting some signs over there with, information about how to reserve, you've probably seen that like a shampoo park or something.
And some people have talked about, well, the kitchen is not as revamped as they would like. And this will come into place once we have enough funding, we create enough funding, then we could revamp that kitchen area or revamp that entire shelter area.
And sometimes people like to give for a specific
Mhm.
thing, that's
Right.
what we find with giving. The other thing that I was gonna mention to this is that I hope that this group really starts to also think about all the things that we're building, right? We're gonna have dog parks and the Southside Park, as soon as we get the electricity down there, a lot of things are gonna change pretty quickly. So I know I'm very excited, and Kenny's trying to keep up with me, but I'm very excited.
That's tough.
So we're trying to make it all happen, but those are things that can go on there, And I've been saying, Sheridan, the recreation destination, but I think in here it says destination recreation, I got mine too. So either way, it's kind of exciting, but it doesn't catch on, so maybe with this brochure it will catch on.
Yeah, a brochure and a better, information on the website, yes, the plug us says
And it just gives a lot of pride in the community too, when you have a really good park
system.
and recreation and activities to bring people together, that whole thing.
Especially with the stage that we're thinking of putting up there. at the Southside Park. That would be a great place to, for us to, if we have that already established and a good advertising platform, then when those, when people are trying to, do skits, or they're trying to do a play, a show, or even have a talent show, or even have a doggy, costume show, that would be a great place to have them. Those were some of the conversations we talked about. Everything's done. Yeah, those are some of the conversations we had of how to bring money for the dog parks.
And since we have guests, which is very nice, would anybody like to elaborate on our South Park plans? Because I'm not sure everybody knows. And
I was gonna give an update.
Sure, let's
It
just,
might even be, is it, you want me
That
to
is
skip
the next
ahead?
item.
yeah, skip ahead.
Okay, we'll skip ahead.
We're loosey-goosey today.
We are free, the vice chair is.
Okay.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
So is that, the way I have Lilia and Hugh as my volunteers, should I bring this up again on January for, the members who are missing, or should I just send out an email asking for volunteers then?
Yeah, an email. And is there a way that we could put it even in the bulletin board and ask other, because I don't wanna hog all the, yeah, well, not all the work, but it's not fair. We want other citizens to get involved, really. And having the same kind of clump of people, it doesn't do well. So having more input, I think, is a good thing.
I totally agree. I still believe that that the shows should be run by this committee as the main three.
Yes, yes.
Whether to be a full year main three or half a year we alternate.
Yeah, I like the idea of people alternating too, I think that's good.
Me too.
To have that
Yes.
voice of everybody in there, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Omega will continue, but 2 is a good start.
Yes. Thank you.
We're gonna, please talk about the South Park so that folks can, since we've kind of stepped on that a little bit, and I'll go
Sure, we'll go
out of order.
So Kenny is also here and he's going to help me, he'll talk about the parts that I missed, because I know that there's been a lot of, his crew has spent a lot of time out there and a lot of, time kind of dreaming about things too, so it's been really a good bonding thing as well for the staff. They got the current aerator fixed that's out there, and I do have funding to get 2 other ones, or at least one really big one, so Kenny and I are gonna talk about what that looks like. We also have a new person, in the Public Works, a clerk position, and her name is Sandy, and part of her job is to also help us with parks, with all like the researching the items and actually ordering them and making sure they come, keeping up with all of the administration part of parks. And so we've really started to lean into her for that. She's very good at her job. So let's see, Kitty can talk more about the aerators if you want. We are working really hard, so to bring electricity down into the park. We have spoke to Stuck Electric and had a bid for that work, which is a little larger amount of money, but I will get to that in a second. I'll tell you where we're gonna make that up. So we had to press pause because when PGE came out, they found out that they needed to put the power, or take the power off of a pole that is actually an FCI, so the federal prison pole. And so there's been some coordination work with that, but once we get the power down there, and it sounds like people are pretty aligned now, right, to go forward, because we got the permit, or we got PGE is in there too. I'm gonna give an update on that part.
I believe that PG&E came out and they looked at the pole and decided that there was not enough power on that pole.
Oh.
So they're recommending that we pull power from Ballston Road and run it all the way down the Fish Pond Road,
Okay.
underground.
So we'll have to take care of that. So the project, so everything kind of hinges too on the electricity. Because once we get the electricity down there and establish the direction of it, then we can figure out where, you know, the restroom really is gonna be located, and then that determines where the septic tank needs to go, because we do not have sewer system down there, and that's out of our price range to bring that down there. And so, and then we don't wanna do anything with the parking lot, we don't wanna pave it until we have all of this stuff figured out, right? So a lot of things are hinging on that electricity, a lot of the amenities. And then we don't, you know, we're considering, the foundation has to be poured for the restroom. And then when we have somebody pour the foundation for the restroom, it could very possibly be into the bid that they would be the same company that would pour the foundations for the sheds, not the sheds, what do we call them? The pavilions, right?
Yes.
And the pavilions are the same size as the pavilion that's out there, there'll be 2 of them. So there's a lot of, you know, we have to wait for this electricity, and I know Kenny and his team keep, you know, pushing on the right people for that. The other part that I wanted to share was that the disc golf crew has finalized the course layout for baskets 1 through 9. And I have received, information from GK Machine that they will do the donation, they're out of Donald, Oregon. And they will do the donation, they're fabricating all of the baskets, this is the first time, yeah, and they're excited for the project, that, for their business, and they're taking all the costs for that, and they're gonna be submitting their baskets. They have a newer thought about how to, they're gonna be going for a patent, and they will also be going to the PDGA, which is the Professional Disc Golf Association, to make sure that their baskets can be recognized and accepted for that level of play. And then those will be pretty cool to have out there. And it's really nice to think about a local company being able to get into the game, I guess, of that. So, it only takes about 2 to 3 weeks for the PDGA to review the baskets. I just had a meeting with them last week, and we gave them some ideas. The disc golf crew, they were able to get donations from a business that's going out of business. They had, what is that, like a heavy plastic?
UHMW or?
Yeah, and so, they're gonna be making a form out of the plastic to pour the concrete pads. The concrete pads may end up being circular, which is only something that a few other courses have, and one of them is out in Arizona. So it's kind of a neat thing too. But let's see, and there's a lot of volunteer work that's going into that. But then I keep asking them if they're volunteering or if they're just out there kind of playing, so. But they're volunteers, so.
Yes, it's both.
Yeah, they're like, whoa, we have to try this out. Okay, so Kenny is working on getting the septic tank, making sure that the septic tank, do you wanna share about the brush cutting?
Yeah, we're also wanting to put in a walk bridge that it's right by where the pavilion is now, or the shed, whatever you wanna call it, cover. And it goes across the natural drainage ditch to the west, kind of northwest a little bit, towards the cemetery, which we've cleared all the brush for it, just kind of broke around there to see what it would look like if we wanted to move it one way or another. And for the most part, everybody that's looked at it kind of likes the area. So,
The city owns property that's across from that area. City owns quite a bit of property over at the Southside Park, and so we're just also trying to open up as much as we can. And I guess I'll share this piece of it right now too, this is brand new to Kenny, is that Stella Jones called from their, one of their offices, and they would like to make a donation to the city of $4,000 for something that is like an environmental type project. So I find out tomorrow if they had suggested some things, but I think that they have landed on wanting to do something at the Southside Park. And for that budget, you know, one of the things we've thought about a lot is having some signage about the different, the fish that are in the pond, some educational, you know, information, and about the birds and the fowl and the waterfowl. I would say they don't know, because we have our pond for fishing, but then they go all in the area. And so I've seen bald eagles out there, and so that would be a project that we would be able to do, I think with the OSU Extension Office that's in MAC, they're really good about helping cities, to figure out what we have. So we saw a snake out there once, so that might be fun, there's lots of snakes, there's frogs, so there's a lot going on out there, and I thought that might be neat for people to have that information about really what's in their own backyard. And so we'll see if they are wanting to do that. And a bench, and then I thought it would be fun to have those, what do you call, the like, you go whale,
Viewing
you see the whale
stations.
watching.
Yeah.
So having something like that would be fun out there too, I thought maybe on the other side, so that people can have that really, peaceful experience when they cross over the bridge. And then the cemetery, they own quite a bit of land on the backside, and the cemetery owner, him and I haven't met for a while, but one of his goals is to have the cemetery thought of as a park in itself. And so he really wants to add some walking paths, and so we also are thinking about doing on, out there, what are they called, like a love garden or something, and it brings serenity. So if you think about it, like you put somebody to rest, and then there's a path off the back, and then like a little area where you can sit, and all of the serenity areas are usually trees or bushes or plants that have heart shapes involved with them somehow. And so then you would be able to walk over onto the city area, and then it makes a complete path. You can go over the footbridge, you can go around the pond, but that area over on that side, we really want to try to have it be nice and peaceful place. And so you can do your bird watching over there and have your thoughts. And then on the other side, we'll get a little more wild with the play structure and the birthday party pavilion, that kind of a thing. So that's the general vision for that area. And I hope people are as excited as we are, 'cause I'm like,
Yeah.
chomping at the bit here.
So we got also there's gonna be in the South Park, Dog Park, and of course the disc golf,
You want
the
to talk about,
stage.
your dog park will be fairly large.
Yes,
I say
Yes.
yours because Kay and Omega are part of the dog park subcommittee, so.
we're all about the bark.
The yeah, bark perks.
Yes.
Bark, yeah. And then Wendell, you wanna speak about your thoughts and dreams for the Southside
Well,
Park?
my thoughts and dreams is to put in a lovely amphitheater. And we're looking at about, in the neighborhood of 20-foot by 40-foot stage area. That will be, it'll be in the area by where the, let's call it orchard.
Yeah.
Okay, where the fruit trees are. And that, I just see that bringing a lot of fun, I'm looking forward to this Sheridan Bluegrass Festival, Sheridan anything, country festival, Sheridan Rock Festival, so all these things. This will be so much fun, and like Omega was saying, we can have, kids can do plays on there, people can do wedding on there, whatever you wanna do.
Sure.
But what a great idea, yeah.
I've seen people hold like yoga classes or Tai
Absolutely.
Chi in those spaces.
And of course, that's all waiting on what? The electricity. So once we get the electricity figured out, we'll move forward.
No pressure, Kenny.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay, we're gonna go back then and pick up, cause I was excited about the, something. Design of the Sheridan Park updates, number one, or I is Tetherball and Foursquare location update.
That's right. I forgot to mention to people, they might not realize this, but all of this Southside Park stuff is, the money part is coming from an Oregon Parks Department grant. We were recipient of a large grant for this park. And then the rest of what the city has to make up is through volunteer labor or donations. So that's why we are very, very needful of having volunteer time for that, or staff time too. So anyways, just wanted to share that.
Thank you.
Like $550,000 or something.
On the Tetherball, I know we had the Foursquare location. I think did we talk about the location for the Foursquare?
Kenny is really excited to talk about his ideas. Omega, will you put up a map of the city park?
Certainly.
And I think we should consider thinking too about the RC track.
Yahoo.
Okay. You can also use the city's webpage and use our map.
That would have been too easy.
Not this, let's move to the city, yeah, okay, good. Is there like a? Yes, you know what I want. Thank you, Omega.
Yay, okay.
Okay, Kenny, thing is, you have to go to the board.
Okay.
Omega, you might wanna make it just a little bit bigger.
Yeah, good.
Kenny is. Kenny. There we go.
Okay, my idea on the location for the Foursquare would be, okay, this is the basketball court here.
Yes,
Right in front of here, there's sidewalks in here. But right here, there's a grassy area. It's probably approximately 30 by 30.
okay.
There's no sprinklers in this area right here. It'd be fairly easy to take that section and make our 26 by 26 square and butt it right up to the asphalt that is there for the basketball courts. Of course, this would be concrete. I think it would be a good area. Yeah, mainly because there is no sprinkler systems, no sprinklers in that area. We wouldn't have to fool with it. We could just excavate it out, get it ready, compact rock, pour concrete, be done with that. Be plenty of room there. There's no obstacles around. Yeah. I didn't know that there had been already a location for the Foursquare that you guys had picked out. I was just asked to go down there
Right.
and look for an area that I thought would be good for Foursquare.
Where was the area that we had talked about?
Right
I
here.
think it was right here.
Oh,
Near
you see
the-
my mouse cursor?
Oh, was
Yeah.
it there? I thought it was closer to the.
Okay,
No, because the tetherball was supposed to be over
Yeah,
here.
I thought that the Foursquare was like south of the basketball. Yeah, by the parking area, but.
Over here? No, originally
No,
we
like
had thought of putting the RC
Yeah, over there.
over
Yeah.
here.
I thought right there, like right in there was the Foursquare, kind of under the trees, but I don't know if anybody's too determined, is anybody,
this area right in here
yes?
used to be the swimming pool,
Right.
waiting pond. And when they filled that in, they never did knock the bottom of the pool out so it could drain. With that, it would be a mess in the wintertime for really anything, unless
We
we
went back
went
to
in
a
and
waiting
did
pool.
quite a bit of work, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Dig that all up and
And make it a
knock the bottom
splash
out of
pad.
that concrete pool. It'd be a lot of work.
Where are the sprinklers, Kenny?
There's about 16 different sprinkler systems
Oh
in this
my
park.
gosh.
So there's a lot of underground piping
Okay,
in the park
wow.
A lot of maintenance.
and a lot of valve boxes. It takes a lot of water to keep that park green, you know, and there's,
Okay.
so that's why I thought that would be a good area. And then I thought for the tetherball would be right out here. Be places, there's benches and stuff and places where, you know, people can sit. And there again, there's no sprinklers in there.
Okay, that sounds like a winning formula.
So,
No sprinklers.
And it's kind of nice because it elongates the part, the recreation area in
Right.
the middle too, and as parents, you know, I think we like to try to keep.
It's
Yeah, see where
centralized,
they are,
yes.
and to not have them very close to a road or a parking lot.
Could we, in the future, think about putting a bench or something, or is there a bench
There's
that,
one bench there.
one bench?
there is.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
We had made some decisions, Kenny, this group had about those benches that were with Forest River, and I think it's time remember, was there any for the south, or for the city park that we had thought, like maybe it was 2?
I thought so.
And how many are the dog parks getting of those?
I don't remember, I thought we were getting,
Kenny, is
For
there
the-
7 of them?
maybe it's 1 or
Well,
2.
I thought that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought there'd be a bench for the big doggy park and a bench for the little doggy park.
Correct, that's what we were promised.
Okay,
So, yeah, we have those benches.
Is there, do you remember how many there are?
7 total.
7, okay, and so maybe we can put a couple for.
Sure. No,
Okay.
that's not an issue.
now,
Does
do,
anybody wanna let him know where you want the benches, or should we put in the play stuff first and then figure out the benches?
yeah, put in the
Okay.
play stuff, and then,
'Cause as a
Pretty
parent,
soon
I
put
wanna
the
be able to
benches.
see all those things
Yeah, and then think
at
about where the
once,
benches.
yeah, where my kids are going.
Yes.
now, do we wanna go ahead and make a motion to put a location that will say yes?
That sounds
We-
good, then
okay.
Kenny can have that direction. And I like having Kenny here, cause I
Me
think it
too.
streamlines a lot of things.
Yes,
One thing I could consider is the bench that is there now, it's facing kind of the basketball area. We could put a bench on the direct opposite side of that, so people could see kind of the other side of that. It's not taking up too much room.
Sure, that'd be easy to do.
Yeah.
okay, well, I'll try. I make a motion that we select the Tetherball and 4 square location suggested by Kenny, where there's no sprinklers.
I second.
Alright, all in favor? Yay. Yes,
Before we move out of old business,
yes,
I think we forgot to maybe put it on the agenda, and I think we did last time too, that playground equipment that we were, that would be
okay,
under old business,
yes,
correct?
it would.
I did not put it in the agenda because I have not heard back from them.
Oh, okay.
We were given a go by our attorney that it would be okay, of putting the equipment ourselves. We were also given the okay to go ahead and get the equipment. When I reached back to them to hear whether or not they still had it available, I have not heard back. So I'm still kind of waiting and hoping that they have it stored somewhere. I know that they were planning on taking the equipment out themselves anyways, because they wanted to replace it with some new structure.
Oh, that, wow, if they take it out and disassemble it,
Yeah, that was part of our thing,
Yeah.
was that we
we
really
won't
wanted
know
to
how to
pay.
put it back together. Yeah,
And removing that, I went and looked at that, that play structure, and that's all concreted in. So, taking that out's gonna be, somebody's gonna have their hands full, because it's gonna be easy to damage the equipment, the playground itself. And I don't know about cutting that off at ground level. You're gonna have a short play structure, you still gotta mount it on the ground. God,
That's right in the fall.
huh? Yeah, it's like closer to the ground.
I guess the only answer again is just to find out what's happening, if you could try again to follow up, but it appears maybe it's not the best thing, but we'll
I've
get
asked them if they have a plan for getting the concrete.
Yeah.
I'm actually meeting them, on the